This speech is about the results of research that we have developed in the Political Communication Laboratory at the Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León. The Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León is very near to here. It's in Monterrey. And yes, it's a bit crazy because I am Spanish, but I work in Mexico. And we have been developing this research about a topic or issue between Spain and Argentina. But that's happened. Sometimes we develop researches in other areas that are more close to us. And in this case, I'm going to speak about the conflict between Argentina and Spain that happens 2 years ago because of the YPF, the Argentinian oil company expropriation by the Argentinian government, and the political conflict between these two countries because of this decision. And in this moment, I have a question. I don't know if there is anybody from Argentina. Okay, no, okay, better. So I can be no political correct. No. I'm going to be political correct because I am Spanish, but I live in Mexico, so I have a different point of view about this problem. Okay. I'll try to, in the first part of the speech, to make you a context to understand this problem or this issue of this matter. Okay, perhaps you know that from the mid 80s in the past century, the Spanish companies increased their investment in the different countries of Latin America. In fact, they invest a lot, and this investment became Spain in the second country with more investments in the region, only behind the United States. And during the second half of the 90s, a strong flow of investments led different international media to use expression like the new conquistadors, the Spanish Armada, El Dorado, in order to explain the new, a new colonization from Spain to these countries, especially to South America. Okay, this investment process was carried out in various fields through the acquisition or merging with existing companies in Latin American countries. And in fact, the acquisition of YPF, the oil company from Argentina, by the Spanish oil company Repsol in 1999, it's one example of these practices. Okay, why the owners of the Spanish companies thought that this was a very interesting place in order to make these investments? Not because it's a very rich or because it's a very interesting. It's because they thought that they had a shared culture. The idea of the same language, the same culture, the Hispanization of these countries was thought by the owners of these companies to decide that they are that they prefer go to these countries where they were going to have less problems than in other parts of the world. It's interesting for us to know what happened with both the Spanish and the Argentinian government in relation with the YPF conflict. In fact, the question is, did they have a clear and articulated discourse about the event described? Okay. As you can see in this in this slide, you have here our president of Spain, but not of Spain, it's because it's the prime minister. We have a king, and the president of Argentina, Mariano Rajoy, and Cristina Fernández, as the representative of their own governments. As you can see, they both made a discourse around a central keyword. If you remember the example of the news story that we have used, that is very similar to the rest of the news stories that the media spread in the beginning of the conflict. They use a central keyword, continuously repeated by their president, they both, and the rest of the members. Thus, the Spanish government and the rest of the political actors in Spain tended to use more frequently the expression hostility or hostile attack in order to describe the Argentinian decision. A political measure defines as a hostile attack by the Spanish actors. A good example that I can give you about this performance or this discourse is the Spanish industry minister speech about the decision of the Spanish government that appeared in the newspaper, Spanish newspaper El País, where the minister said, "Any hostility toward Repsol is a gesture against Spain." So finally, they put together Spain and the government and the political matters from Spain together with the Repsol. So we can imagine Repsol like a public service, but it's not real because it's a private company. And on the other hand, the Argentinian politicians, following their president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, tended to use more frequently the expression of recovery in order to describe the takeover of YPF. An illustrative statement of this discourse is the headline of the article published by ABC, but the Spanish ABC, not the North American ABC, in April 19th about the Kirchner speech. Argentina is changing history by recovering YPF. The idea is that they are recovering what have been lost because Spain and their companies have stolen in the past. It's like a new store because in the past they stole us our gold, and now they are stolen. They are stolen us our black gold. The results of previous studies allowed working with the hypothesis that the issue frame would be largest used in the coverage of the YPF expropriation conflict because it's not an electoral context political issue, and there normally is more used the strategic gain frame, but out of the electoral campaign is more used the issue frame. And as expected, the dominance against the strategic gain frame was clear, with high support for this hypothesis. Besides, the presence of conflict frame was also very strong among the news stories analyzed. Okay? This shows an image about the kind of coverage given by the media, which was focusing on the basis of the matter, but from an approach of opposing position and attack among actors. The analysis showed no statistically significant differences between the use of issue frame and the conflict frame. So the findings allow us to question about the possible combined use of these two frames in the news coverage of the event study. Okay? In order to answer this question, we developed an analysis of correlation between the different news frames measured in the study that you have here. The findings show weak correlation between all of them. In fact, the only acceptable correlation found was the one among the issue and the conflict frame. And this showed not so strong combined use of these two frames in the same news stories, but in any case, larger than both with the strategic gain frame. And we were also interested in evaluating the relations between the different frames and the expressions present in the news. As you can see in this table, the most intense relationships were found among the conflict and issue frame and the majority of the expressions. This issue frame, the issue frame, about the issue frame, was used with a wide set of expressions, especially with those like consequences or impact because of the expropriation and the necessary agreement, negotiation, or dialogue in order to repair the problem. And on the other hand, the conflict frame was correlated more strongly with expression like hostility or hostile attack, normally used by the Spanish government, as you can remember. Okay. In order to know the difference between these two political discourses, we tested the difference between both governments when we appear in the news stories and like the source of the news story. And And you can see in this slide that there were only statistical differences in 3 expressions. No difference were found regarding the use of the news frames when both governments played the role of informative sources. However, and as we expected, there was a clear difference or division between both political actors in the use of expressions in order to construct their political discourses. So, while the Spanish government both a discourse about the hostility of announce of the takeover of YPF, describing it as a hostile attack and create worry or concern due to the consequences of this event, the Argentinian government presented the expropriation as a recovery for Argentina and even a reparation of the past takeover of YPF by the Spanish company Repsol. Okay. And finally, and in the context of the news stories we search for the possible relations between the frames used by the media to cover the event. Okay, the total number of the comments found inside the 374 news stories analyzed was almost 24,000. But not all of them were related with the expropriation of YPF. In fact, the most part of them was related with crazy issues that are not related with the YPF event. In fact, for example, we found a relation between two people that finally established a date. Okay, even with sexual content in this comment. So. Okay, you know that sometimes the digital debates are about the issue that is the central key in the news story, but sometimes they speak about whatever.